Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hash Rate. My guests today, I have two, are Alla Shabana, co-founder of Bittensor and of Crucible Labs, and Sam Pierre. Hello, Alla. Hello, Sam. How you doing?
Hi, how's it going?
Great to have you both here. So we're here to talk about a lot of things, but I think I want to start initially with Crucible because I've been watching you guys for a little while now. And I see what you're doing. I see you've made a wallet, and we're going to show the wallet. We're going to talk about this new wallet that you made today. And you have some other products as well. But you seem sort of like a foundation, and you seem like a company. I'm trying to figure out why you founded this and what it is. So, Alla, please take it away and tell us about Crucible.
Yeah, by all means. First of all, thanks for having us on the podcast. Very excited. I think it's best to first take a bit of a history lesson here and kind of delve into it from there. Probably, I think it was around mid-2024 that Jacob and I had a long conversation, and we decided that there are certain things that perhaps the foundation is not quite ready to do or not quite well equipped legally to do, which is basically building products specifically on top of Bittensor so that we're able to attract serious and sophisticated participants. So effectively, this is when we decided, you know what, it's good for me to kind of like move horizontally, start up Crucible Labs with David. And effectively, the point of it is to harden and scale the Tau economy, not just sort of build features, but really build an entire foundation with it. Really, my journey with Bittensor began because decentralized AI is possible. So after the launch, we kind of realized something, and that's that ideas by themselves don't really scale. You need infrastructure, you need reliability, you need security. And I'm sure people have read the Medium note they wrote right at the time when I founded Crucible, but really it's about taking the challenge and forging something real. So really Crucible does three things specifically. It's securing participation, which is where the Tau native wallet comes in. It's hardware locked by a ledger. It's got automatic allocation of subnets. We can get to that later. We operate reliable validators, so we run the infrastructure that keeps the network strong and high integrity. We make sure that the subnets we're participating in and the subnets we work with are high integrity and that they are operating as intended. Kind of leads me into the third point, which is supporting the subnet builders, whether that is incubation, whether that is acceleration, or helping really advise them on incentive mechanisms, sort of building themselves out that way. So really what we're trying to do is make Bittensor more usable and more secure and more scalable for more serious participants.
Yeah, no, when I got involved in Bittensor, probably I started looking at it like 2 years ago-ish. And then I sort of got hardcore about a year and a half ago. So I was sort of, I basically was in the phase where we had the wallet from the foundation and it was just a Chrome plugin. The UI was kind of ganky, I don't want to rip on it because it was amazing that it existed at all, right? And there was no way to secure your Tau on a ledger. Like, this didn't exist. So you're just like, oh my God, I hope like my browser doesn't get hacked or I don't get on a Zoom call where that guy does the thing and takes all my coins, right? So
exactly.
And then along came the Talisman wallet, and that was definitely, thank God that came along because that gave us a way to use a ledger. Mm-hmm. But that was really weird and strange in its own way also and very confusing. Definitely not end user consumer. Definitely the same people that are using MetaMask would never figure out the Talisman ledger integration, or most of them wouldn't, right? So I really love what you have done, and I can't wait to show the wallet because I think you've done an amazing job. I think it's definitely the best wallet that exists today in the Bittensor space. But before we go there, let's talk a little bit about David Lawee. So this is your co-founder at Crucible. Really kind of a storied guy at Google for, I guess, 18 years, doing acquisitions, like over 100 acquisitions, I think including like YouTube and things like that, if I'm not mistaken, given the time frame. And then also he headed up Google Ventures for a while. And now he's your partner on Crucible. Like, how does a guy like that, first of all, get interested in like a crypto thing like Bittensor? And then like, how'd you trick him into coming into our world? I love that you did, but I want to hear
super easy.
How did that happen?
Totally kidnapped him and then basically held him at gunpoint. No, I'm joking. The way we did it is it's a really interesting kind of happenstance story. We ended up accidentally sitting next to each other on a plane out to a DCG event at the time. And we were both going to the same event. But this was right after COVID. It was around 2022. He was wearing his sort of the COVID mask and sort of saw him next to me. I felt really bad. I didn't know who it was, but I was like, I should wear mine just in case. This was around the time people were starting taking off masks. So I kind of just like put on mine and kind of sat there the whole time. And then sort of afterwards, when we all walked out, like he was comfortable, took off his mask because we were like we weren't really in a confined space anymore. And he was just like, I really appreciate you sort of putting it on, even though you didn't know who I was. So like, I really appreciate that, blah, blah. And I kind of sat down and chatted with him and found out that he was David. And sort of that was like the perfect opportunity. So I sat down, just kind of drilled his head into Bittensor. And he was like, yeah, that sounds very interesting. Sort of the super classy David way where he doesn't really tell you what he's thinking. Jake and I kind of sat down with him a few times. We got introduced to a few Google researchers at the time as well that David was working with. They sort of looked through everything. As far as he tells me, everything was shipshape. They're pretty happy with it. And at the time, actually, interestingly enough, capital G decided to pass. They didn't really kind of get into it. But then once David got a little bit more time on his hands, I hit him up again. I was like, hey, are you interested in kind of helping me tackle this problem from the other side of things, right? Not from the Open Tensor Foundation side, but more on the product side. And that's when we sort of kind of started playing with the idea and seeing what's missing and what we can build together. And it kind of just naturally happened. So honestly, it was all just happenstance and fate, really.
That is amazing. So like the synchronicity highway just placed you on a plane next to him, like just like out of the blue.
Exactly.
That is crazy.
Really, just happened out of nowhere. Like I should have bought a lottery ticket that day, I swear.
That is absolutely amazing. So, okay, Ala, so you wanted to discuss a little bit about why you built the wallet.
Yeah, it's a fairly it's very important to understand where the origins of this wallet came from, why we even built a wallet in the first place. Why not say something else? I think everyone knows, I think you, Mark, know this as well as everybody else. When DTAO first came out, a lot of still is the case today, a lot of the concentration of tau is in root. It's not going anywhere else, right? Either people don't understand the subnets, or they're too afraid to speculate, or some people are just gonna be like, I'm just gonna YOLO into the subnet and be done. So you kind of had both ends of the spectrum. The other part that I found was rather concerning is there was no tau native wallet that was cryptographically secure with a hardware integration. No such thing. And for a project like Bittensor at this stage with the momentum that we have, it's actually a bit of a shame, because how will you make sure these people who have meaningful amounts of tau that are basically running in scripts and browser extensions and ad hoc setups are going to be secure in this whole time, right? It's not really the best approach. And at the same time, these people who are actually trying to speculate into these subnets don't know the right ones. There's a lot of hype happening. There's a lot of overwhelming amount of information. It's almost like Brave New World. There's so much information coming in that it's so hard to know which ones to go into and which ones to not go into. Even me, like I've been at this with Jake since day one, and I still had problems catching up to all the subnets that are coming out. It was so hard to do. And effectively, we were day trading at that point. So we decided there must be a better way to do it, which is where the allocator came in. So in the initial days, we kind of said, let's just try creating an allocator. Let's see if this does the job, et cetera, et cetera. Preliminary tests seemed rather promising, but we were like, we need to actually secure this properly, right? Just creating an allocator by itself, it's a great idea. And I think the guys at Mentat Minds are doing a great job. But there's also a missing piece, which was the security part of it. We had the execution down, we needed security. And this is where sort of creating the wallet came in. So towards the end of last year, we started building just a very basic wallet. All I started doing was just transfer, stake, and unstake. And that was pretty much it, just to make sure that we can kind of got the hang of it. We connected it to the allocator, which was a whole challenge by itself to actually figure out how to properly allocate and move and stake and unstake tau in the right way, in a secure way, without sort of jeopardizing that person's tau. And then the last stage came, which was the ledger integration, which is basically how do we make sure this thing, people can stake it, lock it, forget it, right? I want to be able to stake this tau. I don't have to worry about it. I've got this really fun tool that's going to take care of this whole thing for me. It can figure out which one's the best one to take into. I can lock it so nothing moves without my permission. The only permissions this tool has is to stake and unstake. That's it. No transfer, no anything else. And finally, I don't want to worry about it. I want it to just work. And so this is where the current iteration of the wallet looks like, where you have effectively a way for you to speculate without having to shave off your principal, a way without you having to worry about the tau bag that you have, but really you just take the rewards that you get and sort of get the most out of them, as opposed to just staying root and keeping it there. And sort of the other added benefit of this, which is sort of where my passion comes in is I want to make sure the ecosystem is properly distributed, right? We're also helping the ecosystem in this way because we are helping distribute people's Tau into the rest of the subnets who actually need it to create capital, to grow their companies, and to actually create something interesting. If everyone's just staying in Tau, in roots, we haven't really accomplished anything here. So this is sort of our answer to try to bring people out.
That makes sense. I've been thinking about this same problem from a different perspective, which is, I think there's a couple things with Bittensor that sort of are strange to people, right? Like, for example, you're not buying coins in an ICO, right? Everybody thinks like in Ethereum, right? All the people are used to MetaMask. They're used to like, oh, I've got my assets, I got my Ethereum, I got my Tether, whatever. And I use that to buy ICOs, right? Or initial exchange offerings or things that are going up and down the chart in DeFi, right? And there isn't this concept of like, oh, actually, I'm staking the root coin Tau to get tokens, but I have to stake with a validator. Like that first, like for me, that was a little weird. I was like, why do I have to like pick a like, what do I mean pick a validator? How do I know which one's good? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, do I have to like go study the validators now? Like, that's sort of weird, right? So, or you can just, with your wallet, you are the validator, so you supply that. So ostensibly, you're the wallet supplier, so you are trustworthy, right? So that's kind of solves that problem. So I think that's great right there. It just eliminates that bit of strangeness for new people. I'm always thinking about the new people too, right? And like you say,
yeah, exactly.
It's hard to like keep up with all the stuff going on in the subnets. When you do, the quality is extremely good. Not with all of them, but most of them, right? There's way more early signal here than in any other early ecosystem I've ever been a part of, and I'm old enough to have been part of several of them. But I just feel like this cauldron of stuff is about, it's boiling in a way I've never seen at this early stage. So if you take the time to understand this stuff, and it's really hard to understand this stuff, you have to. It's high quality. So part of the challenge is how do you make people understand why they should invest in some of these things? I think those questions are going to get answered soon. I think we have not yet had a subnet cross the chasm. Not really, right? Like have an explosion in terms of an actual commercial success. Tons of users, tons of revenue flowing in, lots of happy subnet token holders. Right, they're seeing it blow up, and it's real value. It's not like a meme coin. It's like a real thing producing real revenue. We haven't crossed the chasm yet with a subnet, but I think there are multiple. I think there's like maybe 20 that could, and there's like maybe 2 or 3 that are pretty close. I think to sort of bubbling to the top there. Once we get one across the bridge, that's going to bring all the speculators are going to be like, what's going on over here? Where's the next one, right? So they'll start learning. They'll be motivated to start learning on their own. So I think it'll solve part of the problem, right? So, but having this quality of wallet ready for those people, that's crucial because if you had to tell them before, oh, just go use the foundation wallet or go figure out this talisman thing, that's too hard for most people. Your wallet is not. Your wallet is quite good and it is ready for those people. So thank you for making it.
Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate that. It's very humbling to hear.
So, okay. So let's get into the demo of the wallet because I know everybody's anxious to see it. So please take over our screen and let's see it and then let's chat about it.
Just as a heads up, I'd like to give some kudos to Sam here because she single-handedly built this thing. So if anything goes wrong, it's Sam's fault. If anything goes well, it's totally my end. So, yeah.
Yeah, just the ledger part, not the wallet, to be clear. Yeah, I always say that if it goes well, it's on me. If it goes poorly, it's Allah's fault. But it's, yeah. Okay, so you can see the screen. You can see the ledger okay here.
This is amazing. Yeah, this is a great setup. So please show us.
Okay. Beauty. So I've already gone ahead and imported the Ledger wallet, and we have videos for how to do this, and like I walk through exactly how to do this. So I'm just going to kind of demo our staking to core alpha feature, which I think Allah can talk about a little bit as I go through it, or maybe at the end. So I've already gone through all of the features of, verifying that I own the Ledger, setting up the proxy wallet and everything, and making sure that we can actually allocate. And so I'll just go into Max, and then you can also customize your strategy. I don't know if we want to talk now about the custom allocation.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be a good time. So do you want to go ahead, Sam, or should I go for it?
Sure. I'll start and then you can kind of jump in if I miss some things. Basically, it is taking you are staking to root, and then any dividends that you earn on root gets reinvested into subnets. Now, originally we had this as the top 20 subnet, and now what you're seeing here is kind of a customizable strategy. So you can pick your favorite subnets, ones that you want to support. You can opt out of some of them. You can say, okay, I want to stay only in the top 10, top 30, top 50. And you can also say how you want this to be allocated. So it's not all allocated at once. We allocate little by little. So as you earn a little bit of dividends, that dividends gets invested into subnet A and then subnet B. So you can kind of have this customizable feature and just dictate how you want to actually have this allocation strategy.
Yes.
Kind of nailed it on the head. So effectively, you can think of it as institutional grade staking logic for Bittensor built natively into the wallet itself.
Yeah, that is super cool. If you guys don't mind, I actually think it would be helpful to back up and just talk about the wallet in general, because I think you skipped over a lot of what I think are sort of miraculous things that with respect to the other wallets that are available. So for example, yours is the first wallet where I can actually see my subnet tokens in the wallet. Like I don't have to connect to a site, right? Like the other wallets, you don't, when you open those other wallets on your desktop, you don't see the subnet tokens, right? You just see how much tau you have, and you have to go to tau stats or something to see what subnet tokens you have in your portfolio, right? So just the fact that you can even see them, amazing. The fact that you can stake and unstake and or trade between tau and subnets within the wallet is also amazing. You actually don't have to go to tau stats or any other site. You could just within the wallet, you can trade in and out of ridges with tau or whatever you want to trade in and out of, right? That's incredible. And then just the fact that the ledger is integrated directly into the wallet. Like, thank you, Sam. Like, seriously, thank you from all of us out here. Thank you. I did, I am sort of technical, so I was able to figure out the other wallets, but they're not easy and they're not consumer simple. Yours is. And if you've already gone and, if you're using Talisman like I am, and you've used your ledger with Talisman, you just come over here and plug your ledger into the Crucible wallet and boom, it works right away. Like you don't have to move your coins from, your Talisman to the Crucible wallet. You just plug your ledger in and boom, you can see all your coins and all your holdings right there in the Crucible wallet. That is amazing, right? So all of these things are actually kind of incredible. And I just want to make sure that they get highlighted because I think we skipped to the end without sort of going through the beginning and going over those beginning portions. So anyway, please, back to you, Sam. I'm sorry to take over, but I just want to make sure that stuff got highlighted.
No, that's excellent. Alla, did you want to add anything before I go into the actual demo for staking to Core Alpha?
No, it's all good. You kind of nailed it on the head. The one thing I wanted to add to what Mark was saying is we're sort of still, it's sort of an evolving ecosystem still within the wallet. We're still adding more and more features as we go. One of the features that's actually incoming that I'd love to advertise right now is the P&L feature, which basically you should be able to tell whether you made some profits or losses, whatever, on certain subnets. It'll give you even more of an insight to how well you're doing in terms of allocation and your exposure to the different subnets. Another feature that is still also sort of being built as well is really different allocation algorithms. And that's also kind of sort of coming down the pipeline where you don't really just have to pick one. There's multiple ones you can choose from. As Sam was showing earlier, you can even pick which subnets you want exposure to and which one you don't care about. And effectively, it can become really a tool for you to effectively speculate or day trade on the subnets as you intend.
Yeah, and I just want to recapitulate what Sam, and I'm gonna restate it because I think a lot of people I picture Jason Calacanis watching this show. Love him, as obviously he's my partner in Stillcore. But he would not totally follow everything you just said. So I'm going to sort of restate it in terms that someone who's not from our ecosystem would be able to understand. So inside of the Bittensor universe, if you can stake the root coin tau with root and earn yield. So you're basically earning emissions from the chain, and it sort of bounces around. Right now it's like 6%. It can range down to 2%, or it can even go higher up to 10 or 12%, kind of depending on what's going on. So staking the root is sort of the default thing people do. And as that yield comes off the root, you have created an auto reinvestment instrument, which, basically there are 128 subnets, sort of like mini companies that are in the ecosystem. And, you can be a freak like me and follow all of them and try to discern which ones are going to rise to the top. Or you can just be like, okay, I want the wallet. I want the Crucible wallet to just figure out what subnets my yield should automatically be invested in for me. I don't know which ones to pick. So I'm just going to have it pick the top 10, top 20, top 50. That's sort of the set it and forget it mode. Or I can go through your picker, right? Let's say I do know. So I've heard of a couple that I like. I can just go into the picker and be like, okay, this one, that one, this one, that one. Or if I want to use the auto picker, I can exclude ones where I can be like, oh, I don't like that one. This one's pretty bad. I've heard that one's terrible. So exclude. So you've basically got these filters that you can apply to what you've done. Is that basically correct?
That's effectively it. Yeah, you kind of nailed it on the head. You can actually pick and choose which is interesting and which isn't. And this would actually also give you a lot more control.
Yeah, super awesome. Now, in order to use this wallet and the ledger, do I have to use the Polkadot app on the ledger, right? Which is a little confusing. That's what I have to do on Talisman. So I download the Polkadot app. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we actually have a full walkthrough video that takes you through step by step exactly how to download the Ledger Live, download the Polkadot app, and then after that, you never need to touch the Polkadot app again. Everything else can be done in our wallet. Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure. So for people coming here for the first time, right, they're like, oh, this wallet looks awesome. It finally looks like something I can use. I didn't want them to open up their ledger and be like, wait a minute, I don't see Bittensor in here anywhere. Nothing says Tau. What the hell do I use? You use the Polkadot app on the ledger. Just pretend like it says Bittensor on it. It's the same thing for the purposes of using this wallet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, I noticed when I use the wallet, my transactions, it says coming soon. So do you have a timeline sort of when that's coming, or is that sort of just in the future sometime?
I'd say probably before the end of the year, if that's fair to say.
Okay. Actually, can you show the actual coins in the wallet? Because I don't think people haven't seen that yet, and I think that's great to see. I know it's sort of a simple thing, but
when you see everything, yeah. So let me stake to Core Alpha, for example. Here, I won't customize because I kind of already showed that, but I'll go through. Oh yeah, allocation failed. So I have my pin here. My pin is not 1234. So if you find me on the street and you try to rob me at gunpoint, this is not my real Ledger pin.
Yeah. This is a junk ledger. So yeah.
Yeah, this is so you can see the transaction, you can see the chain that you're adding stake, the hotkey. So that's the validator. So that's Crucible Labs because you're staking to Core Alpha. You're staking to Root. It shows the amount in RAW, which we give you here, what that conversion looks like. And then you can approve or reject it. So I'll approve it there. And then that will broadcast to
you've taken your Tau and you've staked it to Root. So
exactly.
You did it right. You did it right there within the wallet. Normally, if you're using a different wallet, I have to go to, well, actually, that's not true. Some of the wallets will let you stake within the wallet, but they will not let you trade. I can't just go buy Ridges or stake. Technically, I'm staking Tau to get Ridges subnet token. So I'm lying a little bit when I say buy, but the process feels like buying to a lot of people, right? If you go to Tau Stat or Tau Stats or I'm spacing the name of the other ones. But anyway, any of the sites that are sort of like exchanges, you can actually you don't have to go to one of those sites. You can perform all the operations right here within the wallet, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah, and you can manually stake to any subnet that you want, exactly what you were saying by going through stake myself. Again, you can do this all with your ledger as well, so you make sure that everything is being verified.
Yeah. So let's just go. Sorry, I just want to go back to that screen where we see all the different subnets. This right here does not exist in any other Bittensor wallet. You cannot see your coins in the wallet. That's awesome. And that's a big deal for a lot. People are used to seeing the coins that they buy in the wallet that they're using, right? The fact that it's not there is kind of weird in the other wallets. So this is a big step forward. So thank you for this.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to clarify that this one is when you're selecting a subnet. So these are all the subnets you can select from to stake. You're seeing all of the coins that you own or all the tokens here on your dashboard. So if I have Core Alpha, because I just staked my max to that, but if I had another one, it would appear below here. If I was in subnet 64 or subnet 1, whatever, it would all appear here in my dashboard.
Yeah. Okay.
I think another piece that I wanted to add here is also you've got the average Tau holder, but you also have the institutional players, right? You've got the Krakens, the Coinbases of the world, who, unlike any other crypto project that exists today, running a validator, as you just said, it's a full-time job, right? You have to figure out which subnets you're going to be working on. You have to figure out what the exposure you want. If you're using something like, so let's say you're doing custody, right? I need to know where I should be exposing my client's Tau to actually make sure that they can get the best return on investment, right? Like there's a lot going on here. And so what we also want to push here is for these institutional players to basically be able to depend on our wallet in the same way, right? Where they can actually pick allocation algorithms. They can pick how that Tau is distributed. They can stay out of certain subnets that, for example, may not be sort of, let's say, fully compliant in their jurisdiction. They want to be able to pick and choose. That sort of ability also will unlock those players to be able to stake that Tau back into the ecosystem, as opposed to just keeping it en route, nice and safe, and not really thinking about it that way, right? So kind of really trying to push all of that out, right? Especially these, as you mentioned, this sort of Pareto distribution of subnets that we have, right? You have like a concentrated high quality and then like a long tail of sort of these newer subnets or maybe lower quality subnets that maybe are not so good. We want sort of the higher quality ones to be recognized, right? We want to make sure the higher quality ones get their fair shot. And that's how you approach it, by basically guiding people to the right ones.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I just so you know, you may or may not know this. So I'm friends with a guy named Kelly Perdue, and I've known him for decades. And he is winner of season 2 of The Apprentice. And he is also a user of your wallet. And he's also not a crypto person. And he was able to figure it out. Yeah. And he's actually doing the auto distribution. Yeah. So you guys have a celebrity.
That's so cool. That is so cool. It's extremely humbling.
Yeah, to me, it was a good test. That Kelly's not a crypto guy, right? So the fact that he's not dumb, but he's also not a crypto guy. The fact that he was able to figure out your wallet and he was like, yeah, this is really good. That was, to me, that was a good test, right? So congratulations, you passed the Kelly test.
That's excellent to hear. Well, that's amazing. We'll let our UI guys know, because we've been noodling about how to best approach this so that it's the least amount of friction possible.
Yeah, no, I think you guys cracked it. So I'm using it now, and I love it. So, okay.
I think you kind of be. I think the last thing that I wanted to add is we do have a simulator on the website for people to play with, if you want to see how well you do. Right. So you don't need to, for example, just jump into the wallet and hope for the best. You can actually try the simulator on the website, see what your potentially expected results are going to be, and see how well you would do had you used our wallet.
It's an allocator simulator, just to be clear, not a wallet simulator. Well, it's
correct.
It's the
Correct,
feature of
yes.
the wallet that does the allocation. So you can practice trading
it's an allocator simulator.
without losing coins. So you can just basically be like, okay, I want to see how good I would have done if I using fake coins or whatever. So yeah, okay. Super cool.
Kind of, yeah, exactly. It's like simulating how many coins if you had, let's say, I don't know, 10 Tau, I want to see how well it's going to do over time.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, I think we've covered it. I think we've shown the wallet. So I just want to thank you all for taking the time to come on and share it with us. I don't think this has to be a long episode.
Thank you, Mark.
It's kind of a focused, short episode. So thank you once again. All right, everybody. My name is Mark Jeffrey. This has been Hash Rate. We'll see you all next time.